see you. Check one, two, three, four, five. Check one, two, three, four, five. Yeah. Okay. 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 Check one, two, three, four. All right. I'll call you back in a few minutes. Yeah, wait.
day in the neighborhood. Let me have some earphone. It is a day in the neighborhood. Welcome, everybody. Let me see if I can get us live. Welcome to the show. I'm praying for everybody. Lottie Dottie and everybody. We already streaming? I don't see it. See if you see it on yours. Okay, here you go. So we're praying for everybody right now all over the city. As you know, those of you who are here in the city, those of you who may be watching, we are in a thaw now, which is bringing its own set of problems, from flooding. And here, at the church, the problems is I've got leaks over the building. We have I'm really kind of exhausted, but we keep going. But we've been going here since the storm ended, when we found that pipes had busted in our kitchen and front part of our building. It's on there now. And that, so we got the water off basically right now. And I want to give thanks to, a lot of people see a church in Buffalo the size of True Bethel and think that we have 1 million volunteers. And I'm going to be pretty straightforward today on this show, that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And a lot of people couldn't get out, but to those who came when water was pouring like rain, our chairman of Deacon saw on camera, our security cameras, water pouring into the church. And basically, our sprinkler system had frozen, and pipes had frozen because True Bethel was without power and without heat, like everybody else in this neighborhood. And I usually don't name names, but I am going to name names. I want to thank our building engineer, Kevin, who, when I saw the leak from the cameras, and our chairman told us, I called Kevin, he was snowed in. I got through the snow, came in, I think I was in here for about an hour and so by myself, just trying to find, because there's so many, building this size has so many levers and valves, and I'm going from room to room and then running back into the part that was flooded, and water is literally going from the kitchen into our social hall into the back hall into the bathrooms. And I would shut off something, run back, and it's just still water. So Kevin ended up getting here, and Kevin and I somebody said, "Why didn't you call me back?" Well, first of all, I think it was because I called you at what time did I call?
Yeah, you called me. It was like 2:50
Yeah,
in the morning.
it's 2. Nobody's answering. Everybody's asleep. So Kevin and I were here. I don't think we left that morning until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Finally, I just had to think sprinkler systems. So I get the sprinkler system cut off, but it's still water just gushing. First of all, because our regular pipes have busted. Second of all, because the water in the sprinkler system, from the school side and everything else, is all still coming out. So I saw this one big valve that said drain.
Main drain.
And I opened that, and I could hear water wishing, and then Kevin yelled, "It stopped." So now we got water all over, and we're so tired, physically tired. We just couldn't do it anymore. And I said, "Kevin, we're going home, and we just going to come back tomorrow. Whatever damage is whatever damage, but we just cannot do." They said very low volume.
Yeah, I got it. That should be good now.
You all tell me on Facebook if we're okay. So we just could not do anything else. So the next day, did anybody come tonight? Or no, me. It was just Kevin and I. The next day, Mark came, and Mark, you've worked in fire suppression in the past. So actually, Mark is the one who got up in the ceiling and fixed the sprinkler heads.
Yeah, so we had 2 frozen sprinkler heads. We had a mechanical T that froze and split and busted. And for those that don't understand, the reason why is once the fire pump goes, the system is pressurized to 90 to 100 psi. So that's why it's just going and going and going, because the fire pump is running. And it did what it was designed to do. So when your sprinkler head goes, don't think of a movie where it's just everything goes. Whatever sprinkler head goes, that's where all of that 90 pounds of pressure is going, because water is always going to find the least path of resistance. So that's why it's just going to keep going and going until you start closing the feed and the pump.
Yeah, so it was traumatic. The next day, I came, Mark came, Kevin was here, Rashawn was here. Who helped with cleanup? Am I missing somebody? Dana. But it was.
I think that day was just the four of us.
Just the 4 of us, and I want to thank God. Let me tell you this: in all of saying that, God is so good, because number one, we had the right equipment to get that water up. We had extractors that we have. Because we've had leaks before, and I always told them, buy the right equipment. The right equipment is the most important thing. So we're in here, but here's the problem. Our plowing company had plowed in the back. Yeah. So they had to move all the snow. So our plowing company plowed in the back. So now we've got water, but we can't get it out of the back door because we were plowed in. I came outside so that meant we were going to have to cart all this water to the front of the building to pour out as we're extracting it out of the rugs and off the floor. And I think I was cold or something. So I went out to my car to get my hat, and who's outside? The plow company. And they had one of those big high lifts. Yeah. So I said to the guy, and people everybody was, their nerves were edgy. I said, listen, you got me plowed in the back. Can you just give me a little hole so I can shovel out the back door and get the water out? He said, absolutely. He came. He didn't just give us a little hole. He opened up the entire back. And so I was able to shovel out the back door. Then we were able then to extract the water after we would fill up the machine out of the back door. That was God. That was God. And I have so many stories like that. So the 4 of us worked all day, getting water up, getting it out. And so I want to thank everybody again, and I'm going to address this. People think I have so many workers. And it's, first of all, people were snowed in. Yeah. Everybody doesn't have a 4-wheel drive vehicle. And we had problems. So we got that up. I'm going to tell you about our current situation. Okay. So we get the pipes are still not, we still have no water.
No domestic.
No domestic water in this building. And because now we have pipes busted. So the plumber, I think, is on the way to fix the pipes. Now, when we turn on the water, we may have more problems because we don't know what other pipes are broken. However, I want to thank God that the sanctuary is dry. This is amazing. Now, I know we don't have water running through the sanctuary, but I'm sure there are pipes. Oh, no. Yes, we do. We have sprinkler system through the sanctuary.
Because every time I'm here, I keep checking. I keep doing a walk because, like you said, I've done it. And then when I was calling one of my former colleagues, he said, Mark, turn it on slow and walk the whole building and just make sure. Now, I don't know. We didn't check the CAO side, but there's no constant water flow going off, so we think we're good.
So the sanctuary, thank you, Lord, is dry, but my office looks like it's water all in the front of the building. But again, God. Now these roofers, and big ups to Blue Ox. I'm going to give everybody the credit. These roofers are all over the city because many people are having, not everybody, is having these problems with flat roofs. They're here right now. Our plowing company, they stepped up. Elbers stepped up. They have been here. They cleared out the parking lot. We were able to house the electric companies that came from out of town in the parking lot, not in the building because we didn't have any water, and at one point we had no lights
Or heat.
So I want to thank those. Now we've got some volunteers in the back because water is coming down. Kevin called me this morning and said it's raining in the church because the ice froze. Then we had a sheet of ice on the roof, and it flows toward the front of the building, so all of the front is leaking. But Blue Ox is here; they're on the roof. We're taking care of it. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about some of the stuff on social media that is just incorrect, and I waited till now to address it, and I waited till now because I've been working every day. And I got to say this, I've been on the phone with the mayor's office every single day. I was on the phone with the county executive intermittently. I have, the night of the storm, I got a call from Betty Jean Grant. And she said there are people stranded. I'm stuck in my house. The drift on my door was taller than me.
Yeah.
Period. I didn't go out. I couldn't get out for 2 days. Couldn't get my car to the garage. Couldn't do anything. And it's like 10 or 11 at night. She calls me, and she said, "I'm sorry." I said, "You don't have to be sorry. What's going on?" So she said, "A pastor is stuck in his car. Him and somebody else. And it was like 3 people, and they're on Gerhard, and they knocked on a couple doors. Nobody's answering." So I decided to use this thing called social media. And I got on, and because I didn't know what to do. I'm calling emergency aid. Obviously, everybody's stuck. Yeah. Police cars are stuck. And I get on social media, and I just started asking people, hey, if you can, if you know anybody on Gerhard, before I know it, I got 400 people on the live, 400 or 500 people. They're there. And other people now are telling their story, like, hey, I'm stuck in such and such place. I got one girl, this woman needs to be awarded. I don't even think she was in town. She has a building, a commercial building, and she was like, listen, if anybody's stuck, and I want to say it's by Union Road or something, she said, my building is open. This is the code to get in the door.
Wow.
She said, I don't know if it's lights over there. I don't know but if you stuck and you need to be in a building, here is the code to my front door. And when you open it, you got to open it like this, whatever. And then I remember one other person like saying, I'm here at such place. And somebody on my live was like, I'm not too far from you. I can get you. Then you got the young lady who was in Donovan Drive. Some people saying that's a hoax. If it was a hoax, she did the best hoax in the world, because I stayed in contact with her till 5 a.m. And they sent 2 ambulances. The young lady who they said her son was on a ventilator and they didn't have any electric. I know they sent ambulance. We listened on scam. People were on my live till 5 a.m. She's we're on Messenger. They send it, but the 2 ambulances got stuck to go get that baby. The next day, so I stayed on. I said, I need you to update me. The next day, I guess, responders did get there, but she had already moved to another location. Then I get a call, because when the administration called me that morning, I said, I'm concerned about her and the baby and others that are called. And they said, we're on it. By the time they get to her, she's gone. So some people are like, oh, it wasn't no baby there. Okay, folks, if it was or wasn't, I believe it was. I was talking to the girl, to the woman. So then where she moved to, they lost power. And the administration told me they sent a high lift to where she was to get the street out and escort the ambulance. So then people were saying there's another page up right now called Buffalo Blizzard 2022. Yes. I said, I'm coming off live so that everybody can go over there, so that everybody's on one page. And I kept saying, I said it for about an hour. I'm going off live. I'm going off live. I'm going off live. And I was so we directed everybody over there. So big ups to whoever created Buffalo Blizzard 2022. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this loud and clear because I've been saying it for 2 years, that we as a city have to have a place like Buffalo Blizzard 2022.
Yes.
That a live person is available. And I'm going to push this when we our debrief next week in our committee meeting. I've asked for it, but now I got to insist on it. We have to have a live person or persons, whether it's from 311 or wherever, to answer during a tragedy.
Yes.
Now, I've said it. Now I'm going to insist on it.
Yeah. And you're right, Pastor. I mean, you made that recommendation even from the last storm about us doing that. And unfortunately, it wasn't included. It wasn't dealt with. Again, I said it during one of our meetings. We could have another storm in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So let's not act like winter is over. We're just getting into winter. But to go back to your point about Facebook, yeah, Facebook could have been very helpful, was very helpful in your situation, but it also can be very damaging because one of the persons in my district, Sam and Sal, who own Imperial Food Market, people were saying the gentleman who died on Bailey was trying to get into their store and they didn't let him in. And that's so untrue. And those are the type of things that we don't need. It's almost like the confrontation between the mayor and the county executive. Nobody wants to hear that at this point because there are still people struggling. There are still people suffering. There are still people trying to dig out. So we have to focus on saving lives and helping people where they are because nobody has time for the other things because we're dealing with real life situations. The young lady you're talking about who had the baby on a ventilator, if it was a hoax or whatever, we're going to do what we can because we don't know for a fact. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do the right thing because why wouldn't I not try to help? There was a gentleman.
Stay right there. There's people on Facebook. Nuki Baby says it was very true. One thing about her, she's not going to lie. That girl has a heart of gold. Katrina says no hoax. For somebody later says, oh, who cares? Like you just said, if it was, we still had a responsibility, but I believed it and I believe it to this minute because right away when I said, I said, somebody send me her number.
Right.
Because I did not want to utilize any of the first responders if it was somebody making up something to just get something plowed out. Honest to goodness. Within maybe 2 minutes, 3 different people sent me this number. 3 different people. Mm-hmm. If it was a hoax, maybe one person would have sent it. But when 3 people send you, so the first time we were texting or something, I can't even remember now, but then her phone died. And so she said, I'm going to Messenger. I'll message you. And we were on Messenger. Mm-hmm. And if it's a hoax, it's a good one. But people know her. Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sam, so even dealing with that situation, there was a gentleman stuck at William and Clinton, and somehow he ends up catching up with Sam. And Sam sent this man, because he was stuck in his car at William and Clinton, he couldn't see a thing. Sam sent his family to go get this man. Mm-hmm. This man said to me, and this man didn't know that I knew Sam. Mr. Kelly says,
which Sam?
Sam, who owns the Imperial Food Market.
Okay.
He says, he saved my life. And so he sent his family to get this man, and those are the type of heroes we have out here. There was a woman I heard that helped the man who was in need of food. She went to his home. I really hope that we can celebrate
it's a
those
lot
individuals.
Yes, I agree with you, Rashid. We've been on national news for the last couple of days, and even our local news. And all I talk about, I'm not going to get into the controversies. Right. At the end of the day, people are mourning their dead, and to me, it is rude to concentrate on controversies and lies. Mm-hmm. Let me say this, straight out lies. When you had plow drivers who couldn't get to their families, you think they not hurting? You think that they're not feeling like, wow, I can't get to my family, but I got to plow everybody else out. You got ambulance workers out there, young ladies and men who their children, toddlers are at home. They're worried about them, but they're out saving lives. Come on, police. You say what you want to. They were getting stuck, and they were out there, but they were saving lives, and they couldn't just go home. They had to stay on the job. So you are totally right. I want a big thank you to Wallace, and I'll just say his first name because Wallace was with the pastor stuck in the car. He wasn't driving. He was out by himself.
Right.
Wallace pulled over to help them, and the pastor couldn't walk, through that thick snow. Older pastor, I'm not going to throw his name out there, but eventually somebody on Gearhart, because ladies on Facebook going, where they at? What color car? And I, honestly, I wanted to cry because I was so grateful that this thing we have called social media did save some lives. I don't care what anybody says. It saved some lives. And you don't know that measurement, right? You know the deaths, but you don't know the ones that were saved. Now, let me say this, and I'm going to address it, and I'm going to address it now, because it did kind of break my heart. Because when you talk about True Bethel, you ain't just talking about me. You're talking about the people who put their money in the offering every week and come to this church. So I didn't know it was all, because I don't troll Facebook. I don't have time. I'm too busy. I work. That there was this, why isn't True Bethel open? And y'all go to that church and he won't open it. Let me say this, and I'm going to say it as kindly as I possibly can. True Bethel had no power. True Bethel had no lights. True Bethel had no heat. I couldn't get out. Nobody else. How are we to get here? We could not. And if we could have, the only people we could have brought in were the many cars that were parked in the parking lot. I could not physically get here. I hope people know my heart. For 28 years, this church has helped from 9/11. This church has helped Flint. This church has helped Buffalo. Houston. This church has helped our own neighborhood, not just abroad, outside. There are seniors living here right now. Somebody, why the seniors don't have heat? I don't control the weather or the electric. The townhouses don't have heat, but they've got shelter. They've got shelter because of this church. I can't control the electric grid and the weather. And if I can't get out, I'm the council president. I couldn't call for a helicopter to lift me up. And if I did, then the talk would be, he used a police car to get to True Bethel. I want to say a bad word so bad, but it's like, dang, every time you got a death and you can't afford it, True Bethel opens these doors. Community meeting, True Bethel opens these doors. You name it, hats, coats, food, not just in a storm, every week of almost a year, except for a few that people take off. COVID, True Bethel was right there, giving out masks, doing what we had to do, opening up the church for tests, opening up the church for vaccinations. So unfortunately, there are those who, and I'm just going to say that you hate True Bethel. You hate me. And I'm okay with that. But to make this scenario as if True Bethel could have done more when we could, what were we out there doing? And thank you to those volunteers that came to True Bethel that we fed. We took out 300 bags of groceries. And because there was a driving ban, we took our equipment, our little cars that's in the garage that what do they call them, 4x4s. We were going to the senior units, the townhouses, but we didn't stop there. We went over to the Ferry Grider projects. We went to houses that were around. I learned how to drive our plow truck, and we went. So I don't apologize that it was impossible. And then when we could get in, we're underwater. But some who had so much to say, they ain't come by and asked if we need, they did nothing. The same shares about how bad True Bethel is, that didn't happen when we were doing the food.
No.
That didn't happen. That did not happen. And I'm going to say this. So when those who were breaking in buildings, they did break in to our senior building.
Yeah.
They crashed the window at the scene. So some of this you got to pass me with. Why would you steal the TV out of the community room in the senior building? So you then demonize us as if we are so horrible because we have no lights. We have, Andre Clark said it, and I was going to call him, but our phone systems are down here also because the water that poured in from the roof fried our server for the phones. So they're working on that right now too. But Andre Clark, Pastor Andre Clark, got on and he said it best. Now, people can now, you can armchair quarterback. Well, why y'all didn't have a generator? We ain't the only game in town. I'm just going to say it like it's got to be said. We're not the only church in Buffalo. And we don't, there's certain things we don't have. We haven't had a blizzard since 77. And if anybody out there wants, and I don't mean bringing me $5 because I can't buy a generator for $5.
Not even
Anybody want to donate a generator? You can. We ain't had no cots. We ain't got no blankets. We ain't got no food over on this side. Remember, the food pantry is in a whole different building that we'd had to get to. And when we could get to it, we did get to it. And Mark and I, you learned how to dry the plow.
Yep.
Mark and I plowed out the food pantry so that the next day we could feed people. That's how late we were. So if I am a little on edge, it's only because I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally spent.
And I'll just say this, and I'm sorry, council member, because people were calling me, and I kind of took your stance all week because I was without power for 3 days.
Yep.
I was probably one of the first people in Buffalo to lose power. It was Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. and my power didn't come back on until Monday. This struggle, and I stayed positive because I was just like, hey, listen,
Yes.
everybody's going through. There's no need me going to social media, giving everyone the step by step. And even when we were able to get out and start working, you say you just don't have time. But to the criticism, I don't get, because you want to criticize True Bethel, and even those who generalize it and say the church. First of all, you're the same one who don't give a dime to the church, any church. But then how come you don't include mosques and synagogues? You're not calling out other parts of the city. It's the church
Or other nonprofits.
or other non-for-profits. No one called out, and just no one said, where's the United Way? No one saying, where's the Red Cross? No one is saying any
Wow,
of that.
I didn't think about that.
But it's, you give tithe to the church. Well, we're taking care of the ones who give tithe to the church. That's fair then. And even still, we didn't even care about that.
We didn't. We fed everybody.
Everybody. And
We didn't go door to door with those bags of groceries and say, do you go to True Bethel?
Absolutely.
When the clothing pantry and the food pantry are open every week, we don't say, do you go to True Bethel? And that's other people's tithes and offerings. Let me be real. Mm-hmm. The gas and lights and all that are not, people can think we getting grant money. Show me the proof. Show me the proof.
Where the receipts?
Where the receipts? End of the day, those people that give on a Sunday morning, I help feeding, clothing, keeping the lights on, keeping the gas on, doing everything else, the insurance of our buildings. I can go on and on and on and on and on. But you are totally right. It became about, in general, because I'll be honest, I didn't see anything about True Bethel because I'm not on social media like that. I do what I got to do. I'm 58 years old, and I work. Let me say it again.
Right.
I work. I ain't got time to be sitting all day on social media and then telling people, they talking about you. I ain't got time for that. I'm 58 years old. Grow up. But I want to finish this one thought about you, because I have to say this, but Mark said it. It was the church but not those agencies that get money to respond, because they couldn't.
Right.
Let's be honest. You just made a good point. Red Cross gets money. Salvation Army. And I'm not throwing them under the bus.
Right.
What I'm saying is they are the ones who have the cots, the beds, the this. The warming centers have the cots, the beds, the personnel. If I come in here by myself to open this church and then something happened, and Shep said it, then it's going to be True Bethel. It was a fight at True Bethel, or somebody got hurt at True Bethel.
And we're liable.
We're liable, and I'm okay with that if I could have done it. And if I had the staff, but we did not have it. What were you about to say, Seek? I'm sorry.
Pastor. I mean, it's just so unfortunate. And we've talked about this how many times. People always want to demonize this church or demonize you. And your record speaks for itself. You know, I think back to all those things that has happened in our community. You stepped up. It wasn't nobody giving us money. You know, it's just almost like the Imperial Market. This man has been in business 37 years. And the good news was when we did the Facebook Live, there were people just saying, thank you. He's always helped us. And people should defend you. Not that they have to.
No, and I'm not this ain't a pity party.
No.
I'm defending True Bethel.
Exactly. And you're not asking anybody to do anything. But I think the good works that you talk about, when there's a family that wants to bury a loved one. And we know that there are some churches where the members go to the church and they can't bury them, but where they come to True Bethel. And so it's not like I'm trying to one up anybody. I'm doing better. Like you said, this is your heart and the things that you have done. Going back to 9/11,
and I don't want it to be on me. You know me.
No. I know that. I know that,
me.
but I gotta say it because people can easily say these things against you, but they won't come and just speak up for you. And I think that's important. When you're out here doing it and you working in the vineyard, and you ain't ask somebody to go and tell somebody the good news about, you're telling them about Jesus. But number one, when I think about even HIV and AIDS, when that first happened,
this got to be plugged.
You
in. I don't know what happened.
were out there sharing with our community. So you have shown year in and year out, day in and day out, your love for our community. And it's a shame that you have to come on and restate a situation when anybody that knows you, if they knew that True Bethel was there was a need, True Bethel would have been open to provide.
Well, you just
need.
brought up about COVID. During COVID, and I understand why some churches could not open or do funerals, but we did.
Yep.
It probably needs to be plugged in. Can this plug in here? We did, and we did it without any question when we could. I'm going to talk about something else that was very sensitive and more important to me than the criticism of True Bethel, because, like I said, you could pass me with that. The night that people were breaking into buildings, and everybody can justify it whatever way you want to justify it. I said this yesterday on the news. If I had a baby and there was a store next door and there's no food and there's no milk, and people say, oh, everybody should be prepared. I want people out there to remember that there are some people that don't have, that could not. Right. Not everybody's just spending up their money or getting hot. There are people out there.
Living paycheck to paycheck.
You got it. Living paycheck. I don't know. We're frozen, I think. Okay, I think it just, okay. Living paycheck to paycheck. Who they couldn't prepare certain things. And my heart goes out to them. And I'm not going to bash them. But I would break into a store to feed my family. I said for me, I would let that store owner know though. When that store opened, I'd go back and say, I took bread, I took milk, I did whatever. I had to sleep here. And somebody did do that. They broke into a school, got other people out of the cars, and left a note.
Yep.
Civil. I came out during the storm because they were saying, because people were angry at the church, that they were going to loot True Bethel. Monique just saw me getting dressed. And she said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to my church. And I knew there was no power. I knew there was no lights. I knew, when I tell you, when I jumped out of the car to check on the truck, on the church, the snow was almost up to my chest. I didn't realize they had gone over to the senior unit. I couldn't even get close over there. The wind was just all over the place. I couldn't get close. On the way back, because Monique jumped in the car, and I was like, I'm okay. I can. And got caught up at one place where they were actively taking things out of the store. I got out of the truck, and I said this on my live, so I don't know where it went left. I got out of the car, and I asked them to move so I could get, because they had blocked up Ferry. They were so respectful to me. And one guy hollered at everybody else to move over, and they did. I ended up getting stuck, but when I got home, a person had begun to say on the internet, basically, F Pridgeon, and go loot his house. There were over 600 shares of saying go and loot Pridgeon's house. I definitely wasn't worried about it. I went on to bed. Me, Smith, Wesson, and everybody else. There is no way I ever want to use a weapon. But damn it, I'm going to say this. I give my life for this community, for this city. I'm not giving my family's life for it. You can put me in jail. You can send me to hell. But there is no way anybody on here, no grown person, you protested outside of my house. I didn't care. You take videos outside of my house. I don't care. But you talking about entering my home where we lay down to refresh and to do this stuff again? And the nastiness and the visceral behavior of threatening my home. Now, I normally do not react, but I can tell you this. I am not being silent about it. And the person who started it, I believe, have broke some laws, and we'll take care of it that way. But that put a taste in my mouth, and it really had me to the point of going, wow, tell me what I've done so wrong in these 28 years of pastoring, 12 years of being elected, here almost all of my life, served in the military, did all that you would think it was funny to suggest to people to go and loot my home. Now, me, I went to bed. I didn't. That woman I'm married to, that was a whole different story. I probably, by the time you got through the front door, that wasn't.
I mean, hey.
And it's not. I don't brag about that. It's just that I couldn't believe that I didn't even I'm out in, now this is where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm out in the community. I'm a council member. If I wasn't in the community during the storm, Pridgeon ain't out here. Now I'm out here. Why you out in the street? You breaking laws. What? I'm checking the neighborhoods that you all elected me to check in my own vehicle, not a city vehicle. Mine, the one registered in my name. My gas. So I said it, I put it out there, but I promise you, if you thought it was cute to do it, it's okay. Because everything is traceable. And at the end of the day, and Monique knows this, and she just said it online, I would go out, she said, you would still help him. And she's right.
Yeah.
And I know that drives some people close to me crazy. But I would. And I because I believe,
because we are different.
I believe in the Bible. I believe this as Baines, I will always remember this statement. I believe this Bible I preach.
Yeah.
And I believe in forgiveness. I believe in love. I believe in peace. I believe in harmony. And I also believe We can't get up here and preach, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. And then when we are slayed, and Job was saying, though he slay me, he was like, though God is allowing me to go through this, yet will I trust him. Because some would say, God, why you let, no, I don't, because I wasn't worried at all. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame the, I say, I trust you. And then what happened? He lined up things like the snow plowing company to be here, the volunteers to come and to be in the back, Rhonda's in the everybody. Like right now, there's people showing up, and they're helping get up the water so we can have church on Saturday. The roof people coming, me getting unstuck, me helping other people learn how to do a plow. So at the end of the day, my focus isn't on that. I want people to understand that I love the Lord, but I'm human too. But there's certain lines, and one of those lines is family. Other elected officials have police around them 24 hours. I have nobody, and I don't need anybody. If you're the president, you might got to go through hell and people threatening, but you got protection. It's me. And at the end of the day, there is a fine line. And that ain't even a fine line.
No.
Let me take that back. That's a thick wall.
Yeah.
Because you can do whatever to me. I signed up for this. But I'm not going to be silent when you do it to my family or even threaten. We just had an insurrection.
Yeah.
People are already emotional. They're out. Even the people who were taking out of these different stores. And again, I understand food. I get it. I'm not going to I ain't getting into this controversy. I'm going to say from my heart, I was disappointed to see it and to see the comments. They broke into Hobson's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who sponsors this show.
Yeah.
Dr. Hobson has sponsored this show from the beginning.
Yes.
And they've stayed in the community. And at this point, she's having doubts of whether she.
And Pastor, it's so hypocritical. Folks in our community, they complain what we don't have and what we don't got, but then what we do have, you take it and you think that, like the Watts riots, just like on Jefferson during the riots, Jefferson has never been the same again.
Never.
Bailey may not be the same because those who took advantage of the situation, because they weren't breaking in the stores.
Hold on. Let me address this. Come on, I love you. But you say defending yourself from naysayers is taking energy from you. Brother, I respectfully disagree with you. This is my moment to make sure that it is very plain of where certain lines are. I appreciate your comment, but I respectfully disagree with you. It doesn't take energy away from me. It's actually giving me energy. And I don't expect for you to understand that from me, but brother, you weren't the one in the crosshairs, and you weren't the one whose family was being threatened. It gives me energy, and it also helps me in my mental. So God bless you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a shame that we had to go through that. Here we are dealing with all sorts of things that we deal with, but to go into places that, like, again, it wasn't food. You're going to break into a jewelry store. You're breaking into one of the long-standing dry cleaners who've given back to the community, and you're breaking into Rent-A-Center. What food is in Rent-A-Center? And so it's just absurd that people would be doing things like that and then attacking someone who is still in the community. Like you said, you have the receipts are here. The receipts are there of what you've done. And for you to have to defend your family and stand up for your family, it's just shameful. But those are the things that, again, we talk about others doing things to us, but we don't talk about what we're doing to ourselves.
And that's the reason. I think God allows us to go through things so that we continue to find the lost. Like for me, I'm in a very good space.
Yeah.
I can say this without being angry. If you notice, my voice ain't up, it ain't high, it's not. It is the facts of what happened. But what encourages me is then when I get into that pulpit and I know that somebody else, there's still some lost. There's still some blind. And I remember one funeral I did, and this guy came up to me, and I believe it was a homicide. And he says to me, I got to talk to you. And I'm standing at the casket outside in the parking lot, waiting for the casket to go in the hearse. He said, I need to talk to you. And I was like, huh? And his sister comes up, and I've told this story before, and she's kind of recording.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what now? He said, I got to apologize to you. He said, every time something went viral about you, I shared it. I shared it, and I laughed. He said, and I was wrong, brother. And he hugged me. And had I not opened up the doors of that church for that service, it would have been, maybe he would still be doing it. And maybe he is, I don't know. At the end of the day, what our job is as the church, maybe we couldn't open up that day, but we're open all the time.
Yeah.
So let me say this to those of you who know that. Thank you. And thank you for contributing. And thank you for being here. And thank you for believing. And are we perfect? No. But we're also not the only place here. And we do our best. I promise you, we do our best. And I'm going to be back in that pulpit on Saturday night. And I'm going to be back in that pulpit next Sunday and then Thursdays. And that food pantry is going to be back, still open. And everything else that we do is not going to stop because it actually motivates me to try to help more people.
And I was just going to say real quick, council member, I think the biggest struggle is when you sit back, and social media has become a dangerous tool because it's a blessing and it's also a dangerous tool because some of the controversy isn't about hatred towards you, towards True Bethel, but you're using it to just become popular yourself.
Monique said that.
And that's all it is. So you tag True Bethel because those who are account holders, you can see every time somebody tags True Bethel. You can see every time somebody tags Buffalo Ellicott District. And you're doing it just because you want our followers to see it, because that gives you another 5,000 people that can get a chance to see your post with 2 likes. And you're just trying to become popular, bashing somebody else. Whether it's you, whether it's the mayor, whether it's the county exec. My struggle is just do your part. If everyone just did their part, if you need help, then call our office, because the same people criticizing, we just check voicemails and emails. They didn't call to reach out. They didn't say, hey, there's this going on in your district. What can you do to help? No, you went to Facebook. They're not doing anything.
Yep.
But you never called. You never emailed to say, hey, I have this on my street. What can you do? So when you go straight to social media, then I just think you just want to become popular off somebody else's name or platform.
Which is okay. Which is okay.
Great.
And I'm not going to keep addressing it. I get
Yeah.
to say what I want to. Chuki is cracking me up. She said, and so will we. Because he says, just leave them alone and do the good works. Let me say it one more time. I say whatever I want to say. And unless you are living in this body, chill. Chill. Because in a minute, you my man, but stop it. Stop it. Anyway, so let me say this to the first responders out there.
Absolutely. Big ups.
Thank you.
Big ups.
Police. Thank you.
Yep.
Ambulance drivers.
Yes.
Thank you. Snowplow. Listen,
Thank
they
Flowers,
would work.
food,
I'm
front
sure our
loaders.
overtime is going to be out the roof.
And I don't got no issue.
I was going
with
to say
that.
Mr. Finance Chair.
I don't have no
Well,
issue with that.
let me say this because, and I'll say it publicly because the mayor's office has already called me to say what they want to get the private contractors paid as quickly as possible. So I am going to have a special meeting next week so that we can move the money. Now, remember, the government reimbursement is only going to be 75% to the city. So we're talking about millions of dollars that we have to find in the city's wallet to pay for this. And I know that Senator Schumer is trying to get more money in, but so those contractors out there, the administration is already saying you got to pay them quickly because if something else comes up,
We need 'em.
we need them. And one of the things that I want to talk about next week, and to make sure that we have all the equipment that we can possibly get, because like you said, winter is just starting. Winter is just starting.
Yeah, we're still December.
Exactly. So we want to make sure we got the equipment if we need different types of equipment. And I'll just say on the True Bethel side, you know me, I don't like being stuck. So I am looking for a snowmobile.
Yeah.
I am looking for one for our fleet. And I don't like being stuck. And if I could have got in my, I don't even know if I could have got on the snowmobile in the worst part of the
Yeah,
storm.
no one should.
Probably
still
not.
couldn't see.
Couldn't see,
Yeah, but I just having that tool. So we are looking into that. And again, if anybody wants to donate a generator,
I was going to say, well, I think we should finish the thank yous to first responders, because you got the snow plowers, the front loaders, the dump truck drivers. I think you said the ambulance workers. There's a ton. Honestly, even those people that are either part of an organization or not, that are out delivering groceries to neighborhoods, thank you, because either you're going into your own pocket or you're finding somebody's pantry to do it. So thank all of them as well.
And I'm hopeful that I'll hear something by the end of the day. The 8 Days of Hope is planning a food giveaway. We already got authority from the Greater Hope Church on Edison, but I hope that by the end of the day when they'll be doing that, because we know that people are in need of food. We definitely know that. So, and also I want to bring up that, please, I know we have church service on Saturday, and so, you know, I saw a lot of people posting how tough 2022 was. I pray that you'll come in, bring 2023 in a different way. Asking God to order your steps and to guide your feet, because we know 2022 was a tough year, but 2023 could be a better year. But we have to bring it in the right way.
I don't know, huh?
Oh, no, go ahead.
You want to write me a note?
Yeah.
So I agree. So we will be here for church.
Watch night.
10 o'clock, the doors open, 10:30. If the Lord says the same.
Yeah.
Because it could be a whole nother storm.
Yeah.
If the Lord says the same, we will be here.
And the building holds up.
And well, literally, and the creek don't rise. What I always say, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. So Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we will be here. And I'm praying for all of us.
Absolutely.
I don't know why God gave me this heart, but I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that I'm not a grudge holder. I'm thankful that I don't get all there. But like I said, I get to say what I want to say when I want to say it. And I'm human, and I wish I was a robot or I was made of Teflon, but that's just not mentally healthy. It's not mentally healthy. And I want my mental to be okay. Again, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to thank Hobson's, the Dr. Dry Cleaning, and Ms. Hobson, if you are listening, you know, God bless you. God bless you. I pray that you stay. That's what I want to say. I pray that you stay.
Yes.
874 East Delavan Avenue. They have been a great asset to our community. Brian K. Lewis, and to all of our funeral directors right now that really could not do funerals and all kinds of stuff, and now they're trying to catch up. 347 Peckham, you know the address, 2528 Bailey, and of course we have his location on Sycamore. There are just so many families that are waiting. And then finally I close out this show with a heartfelt mourning and sympathy for those whose family members were lost in this storm. But a great thank you to the many who retrieved bodies.
Yes.
To the man who left a body in his living room. Not his relative, to the man who carried the woman to an awning underneath, I think it was King of Diamonds, so that she would be found, and her family was so grateful. To all of you, we are the City of Good Neighbors. This is what we do. Let our focus not be on the few. Let our focus be on the many who responded. And as, if I can say this, as the council president, as the Ellicott District Council member, we're not sitting back going, everything was okay. We're going to be back at work as we are now. And we're going to figure out how we could do better. And we don't control snow, but we do have a voice. And we do have a vote on certain things. And we're going to work with the administration so that whatever is needed, so that we do better and better. I don't want to see lives lost like this. It was an act of God. We couldn't control it, but we can now prepare even better. No excuses, no finger pointing. Get to work, get the job done. Thank you all who have listened. Thank you all who have helped. I'm going to throw it back over to the station. Until next week, power to the people.